I hope everyone is having a great week. I just wanted to make a short video in advance of our training session on the 4th of March, just about Zoom, kind of the basic controls, some of the similarities between Zoom and Adobe Connect, but also some of the points of difference and the things that we're going to adapt to and work around. So on Zoom, you can just press New Meeting to start your meeting. You just come up on the video. And then you'll have a join audio setting come up. If you have speakers and microphone, you can test those, but typically you'll just press join with computer audio. Now you've got down here, you have your controls for you can mute yourself and you can turn on your video or unmute and start your video. Now this down here is your dashboard, and so it has all the settings that you'll need. You can pull up the chat box and the participants tab, and this looks quite similar to Adobe Connect. In the participants tab, you will come up as the host and students will come up underneath this as participants. You have your status symbols down here, so yes, no, go slower, go faster. You also have thumbs up, thumbs down, clap, tea break, and away. Now you can mute all of the students, you can unmute all the students, or you can press more, and there's a lot more settings that you can play with. So uncheck some of those settings, but you can mute participants on entry, allow participants to unmute themselves. We obviously want to make sure that that's unchecked. Play, enter, and exit chime. Again, these are things that you can mess with. Allow participants to rename themselves. We want to make sure that's unchecked. You can also lock the meeting. Say if you're quite far into the meeting and you don't want anyone else joining, you can lock the meeting. The chat box works quite similar to Adobe Connect. You just type your message in the chat. It comes up just there. You can also upload files to the chat. One thing that's different from Adobe Connect and Zoom is that there are settings that allow you to control who students talk to in the chat. So the settings are either no one, host only, or everyone publicly. You'll notice that students will not be able to chat to each other privately without the teacher being aware of it. So that setting has been turned off. So maybe for classroom management reasons, you maybe want to turn off the public chat, and just have it be either participants can chat with no one and the chat will effectively be off, or the host only, but most of the time we'll keep it on everyone publicly. To record your meeting, you would just press this record button. And you'll see that we are recording just up in the corner here. You can also pause and stop your recording. Polling, you can add questions to the poll. I have this support tab on, but most of you guys will see a breakout room feature. You can put students in breakout rooms and switch between the rooms. Now, the main difference between Adobe Connect and Zoom is the screen sharing aspect of Adobe Connect, or of Zoom. So many of you guys were asking about how to share a PowerPoint in Adobe Connect. So we'll just open a PowerPoint. We'll open this assembly PowerPoint, and we're just going to go to Slideshow, and we'll go to Set Up Slideshow, and we'll make it Browse by an Individual. And then we'll play our slideshow, and we can see that that's now opened up in a window. Now, if we go to Share Screen in Zoom, and we can see that if you have different applications up, it doesn't just share your screen no matter what's on your screen. You can choose which applications you would like to share. So maybe you have 2 Google Chrome tabs up, and you want to take register on one tab and have students doing work on another tab, you can absolutely do that. So we'll just share the PowerPoint, and we can see that students can see what is going on by this green tab, or this green border around it, and that means that students can see that bit. So they can't see the rest of my screen, they can only see the PowerPoint within the green tab. So I can then pull up the chat box and just keep that in the corner. Students will be able to move this around wherever they want on the screen, so wherever you keep it, that doesn't change anything for students. You can annotate on the PowerPoints. I find the annotating is much easier on Zoom than Adobe Connect. If you'd like to hide these meeting controls, you can just press Hide Floating Meeting Controls. And then we can press Escape to bring those back. If you have your video on, then there will be a little box in the corner with your video. So that's how you share a PowerPoint. Again, it's quite simple to advance in the PowerPoint. You just click to advance, and to go back, you'll just backspace. So same controls as using a PowerPoint, but by not uploading it into Adobe, you don't lose any of the features of PowerPoint. So you can start embedding videos, you can have links, whatever fonts you would like to use, you'll be able to use. So it allows you to have much more creativity in the creation of your resources. So we'll stop sharing that at the moment, and I'll just show you these settings in Adobe Connect. So you log on to Adobe Connect, and if you go to Profile, you'll be able to see your name, your team, what your personal link is. So I've changed everyone's personal links to say their first and last name, so it's similar to Adobe Connect. User type, all these fun things, but you don't really have to pay attention to this as much. Place where you want to be is recordings. So we can see that I've got all of my list of recordings. To change the label of your recording, you'll just click on that recording. I can change this label to test, and I'll press save, and that's all done. And then to copy the link, you just copy shareable link, and then you can paste that onto your class page. So it works in quite the similar way. The other thing that you can do is you can change lots of settings in Adobe Connect, or in Zoom, sorry, I'm going to be doing that a lot, I think. So you can go through and change settings. Some settings we've set as administrator settings, and those can't change, but there's a lot of settings that you can change. So you can go through, kind of see what works for you, and then if there's things that you want to change, you can go ahead and do that. So I have a lot of settings on that maybe you don't want on, and you can go ahead and turn those off. We want to make sure, so you can see that breakout room feature. I think for you guys it will all be on, but maybe you just want to double check. But we want you guys to be able to personalize your experience in the meetings, but we want it to be quite similar across the board. But there's a lot more flexibility with this. There's a lot more that you can do and that you can change. So I hope that all makes sense. Again, we will have a training with someone from Zoom on the 4th of March, but if you have any questions between now and then, please let you and or I know. We're happy to help with anything. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day.